She thought the cameras would always love her. But this time, the spotlight turned into a courtroom summons. Headlines exploded. Jasmine Pineda ordered to return to Panama. The same woman who once ruled 90 Day Fiancé with tears, tantrums, and a passport in her hand now faces a future without either. And the internet? On fire. Hey guys, I'm Jessica, and you're watching Reality Spots. Your home for the stories reality TV doesn't want you to remember. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready for the truth behind the chaos, and tell me in the comments, do you think Jasmine's downfall was karma or a setup? Because this isn't just about deportation papers. It's about a pattern that's been building for months. A story of apologies that sounded sweet but felt scripted. Of fans who once adored her now calling her fake, calculating, even dangerous. And the question that keeps echoing across fan forums, who's really pulling the strings? It started quietly. Whispers online that Jasmine's visa renewal wasn't approved. Then, screenshots, court listings, leaked travel records, and one producer's cryptic tweet that said she knew it was coming. Within hours, justice for Jasmine was trending right next to Dharm send her back. Half the fandom begged for mercy, half demanded consequences. In the middle of that storm came her apology. A shaky, tear-filled video framed like a confession, saying she was sorry for disappointing everyone. But sharp-eyed viewers caught the inconsistencies. Wrong dates, recycled clips, and phrases identical to her earlier TLC interview. Was it sincere? Or pre-recorded damage control? Gino stayed silent, which somehow made it worse. TLC wiped her face off promos for the next season. And then the confirmation hit. Court documents in Panama City naming Jasmine as a returning resident. Overnight, the American Dream storyline turned into a deportation headline. Fans were shocked, confused, and honestly, a little betrayed. How did the Queen of Chaos end up being the casualty of her own show? Did she break a contract? Was the apology a lie? Or was it all part of a bigger play by TLC itself? But what if the apology that melted hearts was never meant for forgiveness at all? Because if that's true, everything we thought we knew about Jasmine, the tears, the drama, the heartbreak, might have been nothing more than a performance meant for someone else entirely. When Jasmine first appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, she didn't walk onto the screen, she exploded onto it. Every frame she touched turned into pure emotion. Fans called her magnetic, unpredictable, and impossible to look away from. Whether she was crying over a misplaced toothbrush or confronting Gino about a text message, Jasmine had what reality TV producers dream of. The perfect mix of beauty, volatility, and vulnerability. She made chaos feel cinematic. Back then, viewers couldn't decide if they wanted to hug her or run from her. She was the kind of cast member who could turn breakfast into a breakdown, then make you cry with a single confession. TLC gave her more screen time because in their world, drama equals ratings. And Jasmine delivered ratings like few others could. But what the audience didn't see were the quiet emails between producers. Notes that said, she's pushing boundaries, or we might need legal to review this. Even behind the scenes, Jasmine's emotional unpredictability made people nervous. Still, fans adored her. They said she was real, raw, unfiltered. She wasn't playing the polished influencer game. She was the opposite, messy, impulsive, and full of fire. In a sea of fake smiles, Jasmine felt authentic. Every outburst looked like truth. Every apology felt like heartbreak. And that's exactly why viewers fell for her. But as the seasons rolled on, something started shifting. The same energy that made Jasmine a star began to trap her. She couldn't tell where the character ended, and the real woman began. The fights grew louder, the tears heavier, and her connection with Gino became a storyline that fans couldn't stop dissecting. What was real love and what was TV love? Even she didn't seem to know anymore. By the time TLC renewed her storyline, the Jasmine we saw wasn't the same woman who'd arrived wide-eyed and hopeful. She was sharper, more defensive, always ready to prove herself. And you could see it in the confessionals. The slight tremble before she spoke, the rehearsed pauses, the eyes darting off camera as if checking for producer approval. It was no longer about telling her story. It was about surviving the edit. Her private life started leaking into public spaces. Fans caught inconsistencies in her social posts, different timelines, travel gaps, and unexplained trips to immigration offices. Rumors grew louder about paperwork issues, missed deadlines, and a possible contract violation. But Jasmine brushed it all off with a smile and a new Instagram filter. She had learned that in reality TV, denial is an art form. What no one realized then was that the real storm wasn't brewing in Panama or Detroit. It was happening inside TLC's own editing rooms. Producers debated how far they could push a star who was starting to unravel, because before the courtroom drama, the real cracks started right inside the edit bay, and those cracks were about to swallow Jasmine's fame. One confessional clip at a time. The reunion episode was supposed to be Jasmine's redemption arc. A final chance to clear the air, patch things up with Gino, and remind viewers why they fell in love with her story in the first place. Instead, it became the moment everything collapsed. From the second she walked onto that set, eyes blazing and voice trembling, you could feel the tension. Even the other cast members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, as if they knew what was coming. The host tried to keep it calm, but Jasmine was on a mission. She accused Gino of betrayal, of humiliating her on national television, and of never defending her against online hate. Gino, usually awkward and reserved, fought back this time. He said she'd crossed lines no one should cross, both on and off camera. The room went silent. Producers allegedly cut portions of their exchange, but fans could still sense the raw, unedited anger. It was too real to hide. The meltdown spiraled fast. Jasmine stormed off, shouting something about fake editing and contracts. Security followed her backstage, and cameras caught fragments of her pacing, crying, demanding to speak with someone from TLC Legal. When the episode aired, hashtags exploded. Number Team Jasmine trended right next to Non-Protect Gino. One side said she was a victim of manipulation, edited to look unstable for drama. The other said she was finally showing her true colors. Allegedly, multiple production insiders hinted online that Jasmine had been warned about her temper before filming. They said the reunion wasn't supposed to go that far. Some claimed she'd been under intense pressure to make good TV. If that's true, the pressure worked. The episode became one of the most replayed in franchise history. But it also marked the start of Jasmine's public unraveling. What made it worse was what happened after. Days later, a post appeared on Jasmine's verified account. A long apology. It was emotional, carefully written, and sounded nothing like her usual tone. She said she was deeply sorry for her actions and promised to seek help and be better. At first, fans were moved. But then people noticed something strange. Phrases identical to a TLC press statement issued that same week. Some followers believed the apology wasn't hers at all, but a coordinated PR move to calm the backlash. Still, the damage was done. Gino went quiet. Jasmine deleted comments, limited her profile, and avoided interviews. Then, weeks later, a new rumor surfaced. Gino had allegedly taken legal action. Court filings, screenshots, and whispers from fan pages started circulating. Suddenly, the drama wasn't confined to TV anymore. It had moved into a real courtroom. The reality show that once made Jasmine famous was now evidence in a case that could change her future. And fans started to realize this wasn't entertainment anymore. It was a breakdown playing out in real time. And if you think that apology was bad, wait until you see what Gino's lawyer filed next. When the news first broke that Gino had allegedly filed a legal complaint, fans didn't believe it. After all, this was 90 Day Fiancé, where drama often fades once cameras stop rolling. But this time it didn't fade. It escalated. According to publicly available reports, the first sign of trouble appeared just weeks after the reunion aired. Court watchers noticed a filing under Gino's name in Michigan, a civil complaint tied loosely to contractual disputes and damages. The exact nature of the filing was unclear, but the timing was impossible to ignore. It aligned almost perfectly with the fallout from Jasmine's fake apology post. Fans started connecting dots, and the dots formed a timeline no one expected. Allegedly, Gino's complaint centered on emotional and financial claims linked to their on-screen relationship. While no official source confirmed whether TLC was directly involved, the narrative was obvious. What began as a TV romance had turned into a real-world legal mess. Immigration paperwork was also part of the speculation. Some fans, digging through social media posts and archived live streams, noticed inconsistencies. One day Jasmine claimed she was adjusting her visa status. The next, she hinted she might have to travel soon. Her language became coded, evasive, and increasingly desperate. Fan investigators, the Reddit sleuths, the TikTok commentators, the YouTube analysts started piecing it all together. They noticed missing posts, quiet deletions, and even metadata changes on Jasmine's stories. One Reddit thread claimed that a travel document date had expired months before. She said she was renewing it. Another discovered that TLC had quietly removed her image from upcoming promotional banners. For a franchise that thrives on controversy, TLC's silence was deafening. And it wasn't just silence, it was erasure. Episodes featuring Jasmine began to fade from rotation on streaming platforms. A clip once promoted as the most explosive reunion ever was re-uploaded without her close-ups. On TLC's official Instagram, captions mentioning her were subtly rewritten. Fans noticed. They always do. The same network that had once celebrated her unpredictability was now pretending she barely existed. For Jasmine's followers, disbelief turned into fatigue. Many said they felt morally exhausted, unsure whether to defend her or distance themselves. "We watched her break down for entertainment," one fan wrote on X. "Now it feels like we were watching a real person lose everything." The empathy that once made Jasmine a fan. Favorite had curdled into confusion and guilt. Behind the scenes, Jasmine reportedly went dark. No interviews, no appearances, and minimal social activity. For someone who once lived her life in the spotlight, the silence was unsettling. But insiders said there was a reason. The legal filings had triggered immigration review. Weeks later, paparazzi in Panama posted photos of official mail arriving at a known family address. The envelope, stamped from a U.S. immigration office, looked ominously thick because the real punishment wasn't online hate. It was what arrived in her mailbox. And when she opened it, everything she thought she'd built in America began to crumble. One page at a time, when the deportation news hit, it didn't feel real at first. Screenshots began circulating in fan groups. A supposed immigration notice, dated just weeks after Gino's alleged filing. Then came reports from entertainment blogs, confirming that Jasmine Pineda had been ordered to return to Panama. Within hours, "Tried Justice for Jasmine" and "She Deserved It" were trending side by side. The reaction was unlike anything the 90 Day Fiancé fandom had ever seen. Half the internet seemed heartbroken. The other half vindicated. For every comment saying "she's just human," there was another declaring karma finally caught up. One fan on Reddit wrote, "It's sad, but she was warned. TLC isn't above the law, and neither is Jasmine." Another countered, "They built her up and then destroyed her. Nobody deserves this kind of public humiliation." The emotional divide was sharp and loud. Sympathy versus schadenfreude. But beyond the arguments, one truth began to settle across social media. Fame doesn't protect anyone from paperwork, policies, or consequences. No number of followers can overrule an immigration court's decision. Fans who once saw Jasmine as untouchable were suddenly watching her face something brutally ordinary: bureaucracy. As days turned into weeks, Jasmine's online behavior grew erratic. She posted late-night stories quoting Bible verses about forgiveness, then deleted them hours later. She uploaded old selfies with Gino, then replaced them with black screens and cryptic captions like, "Sometimes silence is safer." Those who had followed her since season 5 noticed the change. The fiery energy that once defined her had dimmed into something heavy, resigned and frightened. Insiders allegedly claimed she went through an emotional breakdown in the days leading up to her departure. Friends said she'd stopped answering calls. One source told an entertainment outlet that Jasmine had locked herself in her apartment, crying for hours, oscillating between denial and regret. She didn't believe it would really happen, they said. She thought TLC or someone from the production team would intervene at the last minute. But no one did. The day her flight was reportedly scheduled, fans watched her Instagram like hawks. No selfies, no airport check-ins, just silence. Then, 24 hours later, something strange happened. A new post appeared, a photo of an ocean at sunset, captioned simply, "Sometimes goodbye is the only way to start over." It stayed up for less than 15 minutes before disappearing. That one deleted post sparked chaos. Reddit threads multiplied. Some said it was her way of saying she'd accepted the deportation. Others feared it meant something darker. An ending not just to her U.S. journey, but to her public life altogether. The silence that followed was louder than any of her outbursts. No official statement from TLC, no final interview. Just absence. Digital, emotional, and final. Fans kept refreshing her page, hoping for a sign, but nothing came. And that one deleted post changed how even her biggest defenders saw her. It wasn't drama anymore. It was the sound of a reality star disappearing. Not in scandal, but in silence. When Jasmine's apology video dropped, the internet froze. It was uploaded quietly. No captions, no hashtags, no comments allowed. Just a single clip titled, "I'm sorry." Within minutes, it was everywhere. The thumbnail showed her sitting in a dimly lit room, eyes puffy, makeup uneven, voice trembling. It looked raw, but to many, it felt too polished to be spontaneous. In the video, Jasmine spoke slowly, almost rehearsed. "I've made mistakes," she said, staring straight into the camera. "I hurt people who cared for me, and I let anger become my identity." Her words sounded right, but her delivery felt off. Flat, cautious, like someone reading a script she didn't fully believe. At one point she paused, glancing down before continuing. "I want to take responsibility. I want to grow." That pause became the internet's obsession. Was she checking notes? Was someone feeding her lines off screen? Fans immediately split into camps. Some said it was the most genuine thing she's ever done. Others weren't buying it. "She's performing remorse," one Redditor wrote. You can tell the PR team wrote every word. YouTubers started dissecting every frame, lighting, tone, even her choice of clothes. Why the soft sweater? Why the neutral background? Why upload it at 3:17 a.m.? Everything felt choreographed to signal vulnerability. Allegedly, multiple entertainment insiders confirmed what fans suspected. The video had been reviewed and approved by TLC's PR department before release. Under her contract, Jasmine couldn't publicly discuss ongoing legal or immigration matters, meaning every line had to be vetted. Even her body language, one insider claimed, had been workshopped to avoid triggering liability concerns. What the world saw as a teary confession may have been a crisis management exercise. Still, there were flickers of truth peeking through the corporate polish. Her voice cracked when she said, "I miss who I was before the cameras." That single line hit differently. Less performance, more pain. For a brief moment, viewers saw the woman behind the chaos, suffocating under the image she'd built. The apology wasn't just about Gino or TLC, it was about losing herself in the spectacle. But just as the public began debating whether to forgive her, another twist landed. A leaked message from a former crew member began circulating on fan pages. According to the screenshot, the apology wasn't originally intended for viewers at all. It was allegedly filmed as part of an internal communication to TLC executives, a requirement before any possible reinstatement or appeal. That revelation shattered the fragile sympathy she'd rebuilt. Fans realized they hadn't witnessed contrition. They'd watched a negotiation, because once you know who that apology was truly meant for, everything changes. In the months following Jasmine's disappearance from American screens, the cleanup began, quiet, methodical, and absolute. Gino resurfaced first. He appeared at a fan event smiling, wearing a crisp shirt, joking about moving forward. Beside him stood someone new. Not a celebrity, not a headline magnet, just a calm presence who symbolized everything Jasmine wasn't. Within days, entertainment blogs picked up the photos. Gino finally finds peace after chaos. Meanwhile, TLC started scrubbing. Episodes that had once showcased Jasmine's fiery personality were quietly recut. Promotional thumbnails changed, captions rewritten, and reunion clips trimmed to exclude her meltdowns. On streaming platforms, her name slipped lower in search results until it nearly vanished. No official statement was made, just the slow, digital erasure of a woman who had once driven millions of views. Her fanbase didn't survive the purge. Longtime defenders who had rallied under Dumber Team Jasmine began turning on one another. Some insisted she'd been exploited by producers who pushed her too far for ratings. Others said she'd made her own bed, that TLC had given her fame, and she burned it down herself. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds of guilt, blame, and moral exhaustion. "We didn't watch a love story," one user posted. "We watched a breakdown disguised as entertainment." And that realization hit hard, because Jasmine's story wasn't just hers. It was a mirror held up to every viewer who ever clicked next episode, knowing the meltdown was coming. We laughed, we shared memes, we dissected her emotions, forgetting that those emotions came from a real person cracking under pressure. TLC didn't invent the chaos, it just monetized it. In the broader reality TV landscape, Jasmine's fall became a cautionary tale. Production insiders began discussing the Jasmine effect, the way networks profit from instability, only to distance themselves when the fallout becomes unmarketable. It's a cycle as old as reality television itself. Build them up, push them past their limits, then walk away before the credits roll. The audience gets catharsis. The network gets ratings. The star gets silence. By the time her last clips disappeared from TLC's archives, Jasmine had become more myth than memory, a digital ghost haunting reaction channels and fan theories. Her story blurred the line between empathy and exploitation, making everyone who watched question their own role in her undoing. As the credits roll on her saga, the question lingers like static. If fame can destroy one person so completely, how long before the next cast member takes her place? In the aftermath of Jasmine's exit, it's tempting to reduce her story to clips, tweets, and viral GIFs. But beyond the chaos and the courtroom filings, there's a more human story, one about pressure, ambition, and the cost of living life under a lens. Fame promised attention and influence, but it came with invisible contracts, unspoken rules, and relentless scrutiny. Every on-camera argument, every Instagram story, every apology video wasn't just content, it was a test of endurance. And in Jasmine's case, the consequences were real. Watching from the sidelines, fans often forget the person behind the persona. We dissected her words, analyzed her expressions, and debated her intentions, sometimes forgetting that each post, each meltdown, came from someone grappling with intense emotional and legal realities. Compassion, in this story, doesn't excuse mistakes. It simply recognizes that humans exist beyond their viral moments. Fame didn't just expose her behavior, it magnified her struggles until there was no quiet corner to retreat to. This saga also shines a mirror on us, the audience. Every share, every comment, every heated debate contributed to the fire. The outrage cycles we participate in fuel the very industry that thrives on emotional extremes. Ratings rise, contracts are renewed, and yet the human cost often disappears behind the next scandal. We become spectators in a performance that was never ours to control, and then there's TLC itself. The network created, packaged, and profited from these stories, but when real-world consequences arrived, deportation, legal threats, fan backlash, the distance was immediate and deliberate. The machinery of reality TV rewards chaos, then discards those it once celebrated. It's a sobering reminder. Networks hold immense power, and their influence shapes not only public perception, but the very lives of the people they feature. As the dust settles on Jasmine's saga, it leaves both clarity and unease. Fame can lift someone to unimaginable heights, but it can also amplify every misstep, every misjudgment, and every heartbreak. Her story is over in one sense, but it echoes in the contracts of the next cast, the expectations of the audience, and the careful edits of the producers. And now, if you think this chapter is the end, there's another story waiting, a TLC couple who disappeared almost overnight, their narrative quietly erased. In many ways, their saga is the natural continuation of the pattern Jasmine's story exposed. Because every time one star falls, another contract is waiting to repeat the same story.